To be at Underwood Grove this morning and really enjoyed the good singing today and appreciate each of you that are here, and we're here to have church this morning and just continue to do that and enjoy what God has in store in the hour. And I don't know about you, but I need Sunday morning church, I need Wednesday night church, I need Sunday night church. It's important in our Christian life. And honored to be here today, and this is home. And I told Brother Sam I think I'm here on a partial membership because to me this is home. And I love coming to Underwood Grove, and God's blessed us to allow us to be part of your church family for many years. And I always love coming to Underwood Grove. I look forward to seeing the faces that I'm so used to seeing when we come, and some of those are missing today. But if you have your Bibles, we'll not tarry and chit-chat very long. The book of Job, in the first chapter of the book of Job. And I told Brother Sam yesterday on the phone, we had a short conversation, and we had done a revival last week, and I thought sure I was going to get to use some of this. We'd spent about 3 months studying the book of Job. And Brother Sam made a comment this morning in the Sunday school lesson how that God can show you things that you read a story in the Bible and you go through that and you read it and you think you've read and understood what you can get out of it, and then you go back and read it again and God will show you just how little you really know. And that was kind of what happened with me in the book of Job. And if you ever read the book of Job, you read the first and second chapter of the book of Job, and then you go over and read the 42nd chapter of the book of Job, and you think, well, there's the story, because the 40 chapters in between that is just Job and his buddies having a conversation about kind of a bickering between them of what's going on between them. But when you really get in that story, it is really a powerful message in that story. So I want to just a few minutes look at this just for a few minutes, and God gave us a message out of this, and I hope it'll help you today. And if you have your Bibles, turn with us to the book of Job, and we'll start reading down about the 6th verse of the first chapter. And it says, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? And then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said to Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and excused evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and the substance is increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thy hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And I'll stop reading right there. And we want to look at the story of Job and how that God had confidence in his servant, and how that God referred to him as perfect and upright. And we find in the story in the Word of God that I think Noah and Job was the only two Bible characters that we look at that God made that statement about those two men. And I heard a lady make this statement the other day, and it stuck. And she made this statement, and I get the point. We sometimes make the statement of how God has blessed us, but she went through the list of, I'm thankful for my car, I'm thankful for my house, I'm thankful for my job, and all the yada yada about the worldly things. But let me ask you a question this morning. When all the stuff that we have is gone, where do we stand with the Lord? Do we worship Him this morning because of what He's given us in the world? The house, the job, the car, the nice things that we focus on in life, and we base what we have and all the worldly things that we have, and we base those things. When all those things are gone, and you read this story of Job, you know what comes next right here in these next few verses. And remember, God sent Satan down to Job's house. And if I have a text to give you this morning, this is what the thought God gave me. What the devil found when he went down to Job's house. And what the devil found, first of all, was a man that loved God. What the devil found when he got down to Job's house, and you read the story, and while he was yet speaking, there came another, and while he was yet speaking, there came another, and while he was yet speaking, there came another. All the stuff that Job had, all of a sudden, Brother Caleb, it was gone. It was no more. And what Satan's job was to destroy Job and destroy his home, destroy his family. And can I remind you of this morning? Satan will do the same thing to your house that he did at Job's house. And if you ain't careful, Satan will come down to your house, and his full intent is to destroy you, destroy your home, destroy your family. And brother, that's exactly what he's so good at. When you go over to, I believe, St. John, the 14th chapter, and it says, "For the thief cometh not, but for to steal, kill, and destroy." And my friend, I'm telling you, he's so good at it. And if we ain't careful in our Christian walk sometimes, we'll find ourselves sitting right in church and just keep slipping farther and farther away from where we really need to be. And how good Satan comes, and he's so conniving in what he does. But here's a man that loved God, and he loved the Lord, and he stood for God. And you go back to the first part of that, and it says that Job went out daily, and he made the sacrifices. Yet while his sons and his children went on and did other things, and they chose their way, and they made their choice, my friend. But Job made a choice in his walk with God that no matter what came, no matter what the day brought, he was going to stay with the Lord, and he was going to stay committed to God. My friend, you go through the Word of God and the story of Job, and after that he had lost all those stuff and all those things, it come down to a time, my friend, when you get down to the end of that first chapter, and it says, "Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and throwed a fit and got mad at the church and went home and said, 'I quit and I'm not going to go back no more.' And told his wife or his husband or the family that it's just not worth it. Let's just stay home today." My friend, wait a minute. I must be reading from one of those funny Bibles. What does it say? He fell down and worshiped God. He fell down and worshiped God. Oh, my friend, I'm telling you, it pays to stay with the church when trouble comes our way, when storms of life comes our way, when things come our way. There's going to be stuff that's going to happen in life. There's going to be trials that's going to come along. But I'm telling you, stay with the church and stay with God and worship Him because of who He is and what He is. Brother, when Brother Rex sung that song, there's going to be things that you're going to face as a family. There's going to be things you're going to face as an individual. There's going to be things you're going to face as a church. But hang on to God and stay with the Lord. And brother, worship Him in spite of the devil and give Him everything that He's worthy of this morning. I thought, Brother Sam, when you come in and taught Sunday school this morning, what we do sometimes, we come with a half-hearted sacrifice to offer Him. And brother, we come to get our name checked off. But Brother Caleb, I've come to the house of God because I need God in my life. And I need Him in my daily walk of life. Because we carry the title preacher man, It doesn't exempt us from coming to this altar. Because we carry the title Sunday School teacher, Brother Sam, it doesn't exempt us from some times in our life that we need to come and have a conversation with Him. Brother, no matter who we are, no matter what we do in the work of God, there comes times in our life that we go through stuff in life. Here's a man that was perfect and upright and loved God. And all of a sudden, I've always said this, you want to find out what kind of Christian you are, go through some stuff in life. And it'll put you to the test. It'll put you to the test of where your faith really is. It'll make you find out just how close to God you really are. I know there's been times that families go through stuff and you ever got to the place in your life that you couldn't even pray for yourself. You ever got to the time in your life, you remember Job went through a lot of stuff down through this 42 chapters. And you remember what Job, and I ain't for sure, and you people that are much more knowledgeable of the Bible than I are, but I think it was almost a full year that Job laid in sackcloth and ashes with sores and boils upon him, and how Satan was trying everything he had just to get him to curse God. And brother, I'm telling you, that's what he wants you to do, is just curse God and say, I quit, I'll go home. I'm telling you, stay with the Lord and worship God, because it's worth every step of the journey, my friend. I'm telling you, when we get discouraged and we get beat down, that's what He's so good at, is wanting us to just comply. My friend, if you look at that little verse over there, I think in the 2nd chapter it said, wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul. Oh, I'm telling you, there is light, there's life, my friend, for us that go through stuff in life, when we go through miserable things in life, when we go through times in life that we feel like that we can't find no light, that there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel. I've never sat across the desk from a doctor, Brother Sam, when the doctor said the C word, or when we went through stuff in life, and families that go through things in life that I can't even imagine, my friend. But I'm telling you, there is a God that will stand with us through every trial that we ever go through, and He knows what we're going through. All the requests that brought and laid on the altar today, God knows your heart today, and God knows what it is that we have need of. You see, I say this so many times, our dilemma is this right here. We're so good at this, guys. We're so good at coming to church, and sometimes we focus on what we wear to church. God don't care what you wear. He cares about what's in the heart. He cares about what's down in here. What the devil found when he got down to Job's house, he found a man of God that loved God, and he was grounded in that. He was steadfast in that. And we saw people that come into church sometimes and they'll stay for 3 or 4 months and then they're gone and you never see them again. And we see families that go through life and you think, do they ever have a bad hair day in their life? They never have nothing go wrong. They just all the time happy-go-lucky. But I'm telling you, my friend, there's going to come a time in their life they're going to need God. I try not to go down this avenue, but as most of you know, I do a job with our local law enforcement. I'm minister for our law enforcement. And we had a family the other day that had a DOA in the family. And I remember this lady, what she said. First thing she said when we got to the hospital, and she said, we're not ready for this. We're just not ready for this. I knew exactly what she meant. I knew exactly what she meant. She meant her husband wasn't ready for this to happen in his life. Brother Rex, I'm telling you, it pays to be in a place where you have God in your life. It's not just about coming to church and saying, well, I attended church. It's about being where you are. Where is your walk with God today? Where do you stand with Him? Do you have a relationship with Him? This is a man that God had confidence in, that no matter what come his way, he would stand for the right thing, my friend. You see, sometimes we're so easily persuaded, and we're so easily to give in, and we lose the battle. Oh, when you get over to the 6th chapter and the 2nd verse, it says, "Oh, that my grief were thoroughly weighed and my calamity laid in the balances together." What he found, he found someone that would carry the load no matter what it cost. He found, what Satan found was someone that would bear the burden. Oh, that my calamities were weighed. Oh, sometimes if we could just see what the person sitting beside of us in church is going through, and the weight they're carrying and the load they're carrying, and what's in their heart and what they're dealing with and what they're going through, my friend, I'm telling you, sometimes we're good at this. We just come to church and everybody smiles and happy, and we go back out the door. But I'm telling you, there's families that come through this door, and there's needs here today that God will meet, and God's able to meet those needs, but we have to learn to bring them and give them to Him and trust Him with them. My friend, when He stood on the Judean hillside and said, "Come unto me, all ye that are burdened and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest," I'm telling you, the weights and the load that we carry, God's still able to meet those needs today. I couldn't imagine. I've said this when I read this, Caleb. I tried to put myself in Job, in that character's position. I read it just like I was Job. I'm no Job, Sam. I'm not Job. I failed pathetically. Lord, I just think about how many times Brother Rex said that a while ago. I thought, brother, if you just knowed me, if you just knowed me. I'm telling you, God knows us so well. I'm telling you, God, I know. I thought, Lord, I know. If God said go down to, Satan go down to Steve's house, I'm telling you, I probably wouldn't have lasted near as long as Job made it down through that journey, my friend. I'm telling you, God knows our heart today. He knows right where we are today. What the devil found was someone that was willing to carry the load and go through whatever it took, and committed to his love for God was greater. You see, think about the condition Job was in. When we this flesh starts suffering stuff, and we start hurting in body and pain, and we get older in life, and we begin, I thought my brother walked down, they was poking at him because he was 50. Try 60, try 70. It changes. It changes fast, doesn't it? But when this body begins to suffer, and aches and pains come along, and we'll sell out to just have another good day. And we'd sell out just to have certain things in our life go away that aren't there anymore. We'd sell out if we were going through cancer in our life, and God, if you'll just heal me and fix me. But I'm telling you, God help, I don't know what I may face this week. I don't know what I may have to deal with this week, or you may have to deal with in days to come. But I'm telling you, stay with the Lord, stay with God, because He knows what we have need of. And I'll try to hurry and get through this and not tarry very long. But my friend, I'll say this today. God knows what we have need of, and the weight and the load that we carry sometimes. And we're so good at camouflaging those things, and we're so good at Brother Caleb saying, well, everything's fine. Then when altar call comes and the preacher preaches a message, and we say, does anybody need to come and pray? Well, we'll stand there with folded hands as if though we don't have a clue what the pastor or preacher's saying to us. I'm telling you, right here is your remedy today. Right here's where God will fix what's wrong in your life. And I'm preaching to the choir too, okay? I'm preaching to Steve, because I could name you endless times, Brother Rex, sat right there on the front row and know good and well what the remedy was if Steve would just get up and do what Steve needed to do, was just come to this altar. Well, ain't nothing wrong with me. I'll figure it out. I'm good. You know what Job did? He hung in there and he prayed. Remember, don't forget his three buddies, okay? I don't want to leave them out because he had those three buddies. Boy, we've all got buddies, ain't we? What did those three buddies do, Sam? Well, Sam, you surely had to do something. Why don't you just confess to God and say what it is? That's what those three buddies did. Well, Job, you know there's something in your life somewhere that you did that's wrong. If you just confess it, all this will go away. That was the short version of all 40-some chapters down through there that they had a debate back and forth with one with another about how that, Job, you've done this, and Job, you've done that. Eliphaz and Zophar and Bildad, they'd come and they'd lay it out, and they'd say, why, Job, I know there's something in your life that you've not confessed. Problem was, God knowed the heart. God knowed his man. And God knows us. And God knows where we stand. And you go through that little story, I always wanted to preach the message. Be careful what your buddies say. Because here's what we do so well. Instead of seeking God's advice and seeking the right counsel, if we ain't careful, we'll seek the wrong counsel. And when we go through stuff in life, Brother Sam, it's so easy. Because here's what we do. We grab these things and we call everybody we know. And we lay it out to our best friends, our family. Well, what am I going to do? What do you think I ought to do? And here's what we're so good at. We're so good at depending on our friends and our family and those that we confine in and even call a pastor or a preacher friend or someone that we have confidence in, and we'll ask their advice. But here's all we got to do is just stay with the Lord. I'm telling you, God knowed Job's heart. God knowed where Job sins. Go down there, Satan, and just try my servant Job. Boy, that's a statement, isn't it? That's a statement. I thought so much about how that Job had to truly love God for who God truly was. My friend, I'll say this today. My friend, it says in this little part of this story right here how that Job had, he said this, for I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth, and though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another. Though my reins be consumed within me. He found a man who walked with God. He found a man that knowed what direction he was going. He found a man that loved God for who he was. My friend, this was a man that knowed no matter what come down the way, and even though if this was the last mile of the journey, and this was what I was going to have to go through, and these are the things that I'm going to have to suffer out before I die, my friend, he knowed exactly. He knowed who his Redeemer was. Do you have that answer today? Do you know in your heart of hearts who your Redeemer is today? Brother Sam made the comment in Sunday school today. Do you have a testimony of your salvation? There's coming a wedding feast and a wedding day that's going to come, Brother Sam. And I'm telling you, that wedding day is when the church and the bridegroom have a reunion day one day after a while. But I'm telling you, there's going to come a day in your life. And that day sometimes comes so quickly. Do you have a testimony of salvation today? Do you have anything to bring down here on this altar and say, yes, Lord, this is where I got saved. This is when I got saved. Do you have anything to give? Because I'm telling you, if you don't, it's a good day to get it. If you don't have that in your heart of hearts today, you see, Job knows this right here. I know that my Redeemer liveth. Though the skin worms that eat up the flesh, this flesh will go back to the dust of the earth from where it came. Do you have a testimony in your heart today? Where is your walk with God today? Maybe it's been a while since you've had anything to come down here on this altar and share. Maybe it's been a while since you've had, as Brother Sam taught in Sunday school, how that your cup's been filled to the brim. Maybe it's been a while since you really felt the power of God in your life. Maybe it's been a while since you stood down here and gave that testimony that you once used to give. You see, I used to preach this way right here, and God finally learnt me something about this. And I used to say that backsliding started on the altar when we would find ourselves standing down here on the altar, and we used to stand here, and all of a sudden now we're standing way over here, or we're sitting way back in the church. And I used to say that, but you know where backsliding really starts? Right here, in the heart. It starts in the heart when we start failing in so many little ways, Brother Caleb. And it doesn't take a great big moment in our life. It doesn't take some great big event happening in our life. All it takes is just us start stepping back and falling away and just a little more further back. And all of a sudden we've lost that desire to testify. We've lost that desire to even get up and come to church. Well, preacher, it's okay. Our family needs a little break. Well, sure, there ain't nothing wrong with taking a Sunday and going to enjoying a vacation. There ain't nothing wrong with spending time with your family. But be careful. Don't let that excuse be an every Sunday event, because Sunday morning is God's day. And David said, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of God. I need it, Caleb. I need it. I need it every single Sunday. I need it. You need it. God needs to have communion with us, the church. That's what Sunday morning's about, is that we come and we worship God. And I know I'm quickly come to the close here, and you go through this story of Job, and you find over there in that 42nd chapter when all this stuff had happened and Job had went through all this stuff, and you finally see where God intervened. Let me tell you something. Stay with God. You may feel like He's abandoned you. Think about Job's predicament here just for a minute. Think about how long Job had laid there and suffered. Think about the stuff that he went through, my friend. Think about all the things that he had endured. And my friend, how that Satan surely there was moments in his life that he thought, well, I'll just give up. And I'm sure he went through thoughts in his mind, Brother Caleb. I'm telling you, Satan works in the mind. That's what he does so well. But God finally come along, didn't He? And God corrected his buddies. He corrected those that had misjudged and made statements that they should not have made. Oh, I've been guilty of the same thing. People going through stuff in their life, Brother Rex, and we'll make a sarcastic, stupid remark about why they're going through stuff, why they're having to deal with stuff in their life. But oh boy, we may not see things like God sees them, and we may not know why they're going through stuff in their life. No, I'm telling you, I believe this with all my heart. I've got a family today that I hope and pray that when they get to that little church they're going to today, that they'll hear a word from God that will change their heart. I'm telling you, I believe God has a way of using us. We may go through some stuff in our life, church. We may go through some trials in our life. But God can take us and take our testimony of the battles that we go through and the stuff that we go through, and it can be of help to those that we meet along the way. And God did what to Job? Restored back twice what he had. I'm telling you, it pays to serve the Lord. It pays to live for Him. And it pays to stay where God can use us. And I'm telling you, God knowed where Job was at. God knowed everything Job went through. God knowed everything that Job dealt with. And God knowed Job. God knows us today. And God knows how far we'll go before we sell him out. Judas didn't take long at all, did it? And Judas, what was it, that old saying we heard preached so many times? Judas kissed the door of heaven and still missed the boat. I'm telling you, stay with him. He'll stay with you. He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. And you go through so many times through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John where he was telling the disciples and telling his people, just stay with me. Just stay with me. If you love me, just keep my commandments. And I'm telling you, if we love him today, we'll live for him. It's a simple choice. It's not complicated. Brother Sam covered this in Sunday school this morning. Sometimes when he speaks to our heart and he asks us just to do a simple task. And sometimes that simple task is just say this right here. Not speak a word, just raise your hand. That's as simple as it is, isn't it? We'll do this. Clam down. When it's just simple as this, that's all he wants. Just raise your hands for him. But we'll still sit right there, Brother Sam. And even though when we're standing right here and it's a key part of the service, Brother Caleb, and God will say, just tell the church what I've done for you. I don't know there's any better conversation to have than to tell what God's done for us. There ain't nothing better to talk about, Brother Caleb, than what he's done for us. And also it says, what is it over there? And Peter, it says, be ready always to give an answer of the hope that you have within you. We should be willing and ready. Oh, let me tell you. I remember when we was at Hoyt Avenue one night in a service, and there was a little old girl. Her and her daddy would always stand right here by the mourner's bench on the altar, and the whole church was just having a turn down time. And they was going around the church, and everybody was telling her testimony. And finally, that little girl, she hadn't been saved very long, and finally she just spoke out. And they were asking, has anybody else got a testimony you want to give? She said, and she just screamed out, ask me, ask me, ask me. I've never forgot that. That should be us. That should be us. Just ask me. Let me tell you, enthusiasm of wanting to be a part of it and to share what God had done for her and her life. Yet sometimes we're so neglectful just to be willing to do what God asked us to do. I'm telling you today, Job went through some stuff in his life, and he went through great things in his life. And the story that he was wrote down, it was for our benefit today. I know I'm not a Job, Brother Caleb, because I fell pathetically. But I know this, there's been a few times that I know when I got a hold of the throne, when I could go to the throne room. There's been a few times when I had people call, Brother Sam, and say, preacher, I need you to pray for my family. And there's been a few times that I know I got down in their behalf, Brother Rex, and poured my heart out to God for them. God knows what our need is today. And I don't know, I just feel this is what God said. Maybe you just need to come and talk to Him today. Maybe you just need to have a one-on-one conversation. You see, when we come to this altar, it's not about what sometimes the things we say, oh, God, wonder what they did today. Grow up. Sometimes we just need to come and say, God, I just need to say thank you. God, I need to pray for my family. You see, here's our dilemma. It's easy to go on Facebook, social media, and I'm not hounding all that stuff, not going there. But here's our dilemma. It's easy for us to go on there and post, pray for my family. But the problem is we won't get up out of that pew and come down here and pray for our family. That's the difference. That's what God wants out of us. He wants an event of action out of us. to show Him that we're serious about the situation in our life. Sometimes all God's wanting me to do, Brother Caleb, was just get up off of that bench and lead by example. And that's my dilemma sometimes, is I'm stubborn and I'm rebellious. And I don't want to listen to that, Brother Sam. And I just want to wait and let somebody else come first. When He's already said, Steve, just go to the altar. That's all He wants out of us today. Is what God's looking at is how we live our life, not nobody else. Brother Caleb, it comes down to a personal choice, our walk with God and how we live it, how we live our life. And that's what God looked at Job's life. God knew Job was a man that loved God, period. Do we love him today because of the stuff we have? Do we love him today because we sometimes use him as a spare tire? Do we love him when we just need him? Do we love him when everything's fell apart and there's nothing going right? And we've all had those days, right? But we got to love him because he loves us. We got to love him simply for those reasons right there. You have the message. Guys, come on, singers, and sing. And this morning, I hope you search your heart. And I hope that if you need this altar, you're not ashamed to come to this altar and bow down and pray today. Would you stand to your feet? Caleb, come on.